Good morning everyone. You may have seen in the news that the insurtech company Lemonade had an incredibly successful IPO on the New York Stock Exchange last week. It rose in value near 140% on its first day of trading. So I wanted to make a quick video today as I think this raises some interesting questions about not just the UK insurance market but also the fintech space more generally. So firstly, for those not familiar with Lemonade as a company, they offer contents and personal liability insurance to homeowners and renters in the US, and they promise to, and I'm going to quote here, surprise customers with a level of experience that's out of this world. So quite different from many insurers. So I had a look back actually at a presentation I did in late 2016 focused on the first wave of insurtechs, and at the time it was clear that Lemonade really stood out in terms of their product and their user experience compared to many other new startups. So more than most, they really embraced an upcoming trend called conversational UX, automation, AI, and generally leveraging new technologies like digital ID to streamline the user experience. I mentioned this as I was actually just on the insurtech London podcast, and I think the episode's being released next week, and I was asked the question, 5 years on from the start of insurtech and fintech movements, have they really changed the market? And perhaps more importantly, is customer experience for most really that different from before? And on the whole, I think you'd have to say no, not directly. Yes, there's been some big leaps forward, particularly in areas like claims where incumbents and startups have partnered up. But if you look at the market as a whole, things haven't changed as much as some predicted, particularly in the heady days of 2015, 2016. And I think this has generated a little bit of cynicism and perhaps denial about the technical changes coming soon to the UK insurance market. If we think about Lemonade as an example, in conversation I've heard their current loss ratios quoted as reasons to discount them as long-term challenges. But in that context, it's worth remembering that Amazon took 14 years to make a profit. And while the insurtech movement has, to date, not delivered as much real-world change as many had hoped, it's often when the hype dies down around new technology and when some people start to write it off, that quietly in the background, that's when the real innovation and business value is delivered. And if we look in the retail banking sector at the moment, you'll see that neobanks have millions of customers and they're starting to make a real impact on the market. So what does Lemonade's IPO and the insurtech movement in general really mean for the UK insurance market? In terms of direct competition, they've entered the European market, for example in Germany, but they've not confirmed whether they'll launch in the UK, not that at least I've seen. But I think perhaps the biggest contribution Lemonade and the other fintech challengers are making is really in creating some more competitive pressure, and that is driving real innovation forward. While the startups perhaps pioneered some of these new ideas, technologies and ways of working, actually many incumbents have been watching and learning from them and are getting ready to beat them at their own game. And I think that's really where the biggest impact for customers will be in the coming years. So that wraps up my second vlog. It would be great to hear your thoughts in the comments.